In the middle of the 16th century, something scary happened in England. The Queen at that time, Mary I, really believed in the Catholic religion and wanted to undo the changes her dad, Henry VIII, had made to the Church. This led to a cruel time known as the Marian Persecutions. During Mary's rule, there was a harsh effort to bring back Catholicism, and more than 280 people were killed for not following Catholic beliefs. They were accused of heresy, and many of them were burned alive at the stake. Why did this all happen? To expose these executions, we have to look at all from the beginning. Mary I of England was born on February 18, 1516. She was the only surviving child of King Henry VIII and his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. When Mary was young, there were major changes happening in the country because her father wanted a son to be the next king, and this led to something called the English Reformation, and a new church called the Church of England was created. As Mary was a strong believer in the Catholic faith, her ideas and beliefs were different from her father's new religious ideas. Eventually, after her father divorced Catherine, Mary was declared illegitimate, which means she was not recognized as part of the royal family. That's where things took a drastic turn for Mary when her half-brother, Edward VI, passed away in 1553. And fortunately, Mary became the Queen on July 19, 1553, after a short power struggle. At first, many people were happy to have a legitimate heir on the throne. Mary wanted to bring back Catholicism as the main religion and undo the changes her father and brother had made. In 1554, Mary got married to Philip II of Spain, who was a powerful Catholic king. However, the marriage wasn't popular among the people and they didn't have any children. This made Mary's political and religious plans more complicated. Okay, so that was a little background of Queen Mary to get an idea of where and how things actually started. Now it's time to march towards the actual slaughtering incident that happened. To understand Mary's actions, we need to rewind to the roots of the issue. In the 16th century, religion was more than just a personal belief. It was tightly interwoven with political power. Mary's father, Henry VIII, had broken away from the Roman Catholic Church, creating the Church of England in 1534. This shift, known as the English Reformation, caused significant social and religious upheaval. The country found itself divided between those who embraced Protestantism and those who remained loyal to Catholicism. This religious divide wasn't just about spirituality, it had profound implications for people's daily lives and the power structure of the nation. The Book of Common Prayer was introduced in 1549, and the Act of Uniformity in 1552 enforced Protestant worship, leading to the removal of traditional Catholic practices. Fair enough to this point. Now begins the actual show where Mary tried to change her father's laws and regulations. When Mary ascended to the throne in 1553, she was determined to restore Catholicism as the official religion of England. Having grown up in a time of religious turbulence, Mary believed that a return to Catholicism would bring stability to the kingdom. To achieve this, she implemented measures to reinstate traditional Catholic practices. Mary introduced a series of laws aimed at suppressing Protestantism. These laws prohibited Protestant worship and forced the use of Catholic rituals. The goal was to undo the changes made by her father, King Henry VIII, and restore the authority of the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, that's good because people were now about to practice the same rituals and religious activities which they were deprived of by his father. But here arises a question: why Mary resorted to executions? The Marian persecutions commenced in earnest in 1555 as Mary's government intensified its efforts to root out Protestantism and enforce the reinstatement of Catholicism. The revival of the Heresy Acts provided the legal framework for these persecutions, allowing for the arrest, trial, and execution of individuals accused of heretical beliefs. The persecutions targeted clergy, theologians, and lay people, both men and women. The first notable victim was John Rogers, a Protestant preacher and translator of the Bible into English. He was burned at the stake in February 1555. The executions were often public spectacles designed to instill fear and enforce conformity to Catholicism. These events were recorded in Fox's Book of Martyrs, a work that would later become a key text in Protestant hagiography, ensuring that the stories of the Marian martyrs would be remembered for generations. The Marian Persecutions, as they came to be known, claimed the lives of many individuals who resisted Mary's religious reforms. Among the most famous victims was Hugh Latimer, a former Bishop of Worcester and a leading Protestant preacher. He was tried alongside Nicholas Ridley, the Bishop of London, in 1555 for heresy. Both men were condemned for their denial of transubstantiation, a core Catholic doctrine. They were burned at the stake in Oxford, with Latimer famously encouraging Ridley with the words, "Be of good comfort, Master Ridley, and play the man. We shall this day light such a candle by God's grace in England as I trust shall never be put out." Thomas Cranmer, the former Archbishop of Canterbury, was another significant figure. His trial was a protracted affair, famous for his recantation of Protestant beliefs under duress. However, at the moment of his execution in March 1556, he dramatically withdrew his recantation and declared his steadfast faith in Protestantism. His execution was a poignant moment in the history of the English Reformation, symbolizing the resilience of Protestant belief in the face of persecution. These were the famous victims of the Marian slaughter. But ironically, these were not the only people who opposed her, and why only these were slaughtered, not the others. And why did the Marian persecutions end? The Marian persecutions eventually came to an end, and the question arises, why? One significant factor was Mary I's death in 1558. Her passing marked a turning point in English religious history, as her half-sister Elizabeth I ascended to the throne. Elizabeth, a Protestant, quickly moved to establish a religious settlement that would steer England away from the extremes of Mary's Catholicism and her father Henry VIII's break with Rome. One of Elizabeth's first acts as queen was the Act of Supremacy in 1559, which re-established the monarch as the supreme head of the Church of England. This was followed by the Act of Uniformity, which set the Book of Common Prayer as the standard for worship and sought to find a middle ground between Catholic and Protestant practices. While these measures did not completely eliminate religious tensions, they significantly reduced the likelihood of state-sponsored persecution for religious beliefs. Today, Mary is not only famous for her actions, but she's now commonly called Bloody Mary.